In a time long past, there was a king renowned for his honesty and strength. His name was Mahabhisha, a ruler from the Ikshvaku dynasty. King Mahabhisha was so devoted and performed such impressive deeds that the ruler of the heavenly beings took notice and rewarded him with a place among the stars in heaven. One eventful day, there was a special gathering in the celestial realms to honor Brahma, the creator of everything. This assembly was attended by many wise and royal sages, and among them was King Mahabhisha. The gathering was also graced by the presence of Ganga, the queen of all rivers, held in high esteem by all. But as fate would have it, a sudden gust of wind playfully lifted Ganga's garments, which were as pure and radiant as moonbeams, revealing her divine beauty. While the rest of the assembly respectfully averted their eyes, King Mahabhisha couldn't help but continue to gaze upon Ganga. His stare, lacking in respect, did not go unnoticed. This breach of decorum deeply angered Brahma. In response, Brahma cursed King Mahabhisha. He said, "Because you have failed to control your desires in the presence of Ganga, you will be sent back to earth. But don't worry, you will one day return to this heavenly realm. And Ganga, she too will take a human form and will be a test of your restraint. Only when you overcome your anger will you be freed from this curse." In an age long forgotten, a noble king faced the weight of Brahma's curse. This king, reflecting on the monarchs and holy ascetics of the earth, earnestly desired to be born as the son of King Pratipa, a figure of might and respect. Meanwhile, Ganga, the river queen held in high reverence, had observed King Mahabhisha's moment of indiscretion and chose to leave, her mind swirling with emotions. As she journeyed, Ganga encountered the vasus, celestial beings from the heavens, who were in a state of despair. Curious, Ganga asked, "Why do you, heavenly dwellers, seem so troubled? Is all well with you?" The vasus, well-known celestial entities, then shared their ordeal. They had angered the great sage, Vasistha, during his evening meditations. By inadvertently crossing his path, they had incurred his wrath, leading Vasistha to curse them to be reborn as humans. Faced with this unchangeable fate, they sought Ganga's help, pleading with her to take human form and bear their children, as they were hesitant to enter the womb of an earthly woman. Upon hearing their story, Ganga consented and inquired, "On earth, who do you wish to be your father?" The vasus identified Pratipa, who would father Shantanu, a future renowned king. Ganga, in alignment with their wish, promised to assist Shantanu. To ensure their planned success, Ganga suggested that after their children were born, they should be cast into the water for her to save. This arrangement would prevent the vasus from having to endure a prolonged earthly existence. She also insisted to make our agreement worthwhile, ensure that at least one son will survive. The vasus agreed to Ganga's conditions, deciding to each contribute a fraction of their celestial power. Through their collective strength, Ganga would bear a son, fulfilling both her wishes and theirs. However, it was decided that this son would be childless on earth, despite his great power. With their agreement sealed and their destinies intertwined, the vasus departed to their chosen place, leaving Ganga to embark on her destined path on earth. Once their pact was made, Ganga, now in the guise of a human woman, sought out King Pratipa. The king, known for his years of ascetic dedication, was seated by the river Ganga's source. Ganga, with her captivating beauty, approached him and took a seat on his right thigh, as sturdy as a sala tree. Caught off guard by her sudden appearance, King Pratipa inquired, "O beautiful one, what brings you here? How can I assist you?" Ganga, straightforward in her intentions, expressed her desire to marry him, urging him not to reject her, as it was considered unwise to spurn a willing woman. However, Pratipa, adhering to his virtuous vow, gently declined, explaining, "O fair maiden, I am bound by my vow to only unite with women of my own order and to respect the bond of others. Please respect my vow." Yet, Ganga persisted, asserting her celestial origins and rare beauty, pleading with the king not to dismiss her. Despite her pleas, Pratipa remained resolute, explaining, "O damsel, I cannot break my vow without being overwhelmed by sin. You have chosen my right thigh, a seat meant for daughters and daughters-in-law, not the left, which is reserved for a wife. Thus, I cannot regard you as a partner of desire, but I welcome you as a daughter-in-law for my son." Ganga accepted this proposal, stating her willingness to unite with his son and join the illustrious Bharata race, promising to bring joy and prosperity to his lineage. With Ganga now destined to be his daughter-in-law, Pratipal looked forward to the birth of his son, who would play a pivotal role in the plans of Ganga and the vasus. After their meaningful exchange, the celestial Ganga vanished. King Pratipal patiently awaited the arrival of his son, who would represent the union between Ganga and the future king Shantanu. Meanwhile, the vasus, under the curse of sage Vasistha, also anticipated their rebirth on earth. They had struck a deal with Ganga for her to birth them as her children, only to then release them back into the waters, sparing them a prolonged earthly existence. During a time when the Kuru race shone brightly in the annals of history, Pratipal, a mighty warrior of this noble lineage, and his wife were engaged in rigorous austerities, longing for a child. Their prayers were answered, and they were blessed with a son named Mahapisa, who was also known as Shantanu. This name was given because he was born at a time when his father had mastered his desires through asceticism. Shantanu, the pride of the Kurus, believed firmly that eternal bliss could only be achieved through virtuous deeds, and so he dedicated himself to a life of virtue. As Shantanu grew into a young man, his father Pratipal shared a significant encounter with him. "O Shantanu," Pratipal said, "some time ago, a celestial maiden visited me, intending to benefit you. If you ever meet her in secrecy and she wishes to bear your children, you must accept her as your wife without questioning her identity or actions. Obey my command and welcome her into your life." After his father's counsel, Shantanu ascended the throne, allowing Pratipal to retire to the forest. Shantanu, endowed with great intelligence and splendor rivaling that of Indra, the king of gods, developed an affinity for hunting and often ventured into the woods to hunt deer and buffaloes. On one such day, while Shantanu was strolling along the banks of the Ganges, he ventured into a region known to be a haven for celestial beings. It was here that he encountered a maiden of unparalleled beauty, rivaling the goddess Shri herself. With her perfect pearly teeth, adorned with heavenly ornaments, and wearing garments as radiant as lotus filaments, she was a sight to behold. King Shantanu was completely captivated, his heart filled with wonder and joy. No matter how much he gazed upon her, his yearning for her beauty remained insatiable. The maiden, equally struck by the king's glorious presence, felt a deep affection for him and wished to keep gazing at him endlessly. Approaching her with kind words, King Shantanu expressed his admiration. "O slender-waisted one, whether you are a goddess, a Danu's daughter, a Gandharva, an Apsara, a Yaksha, a Naga, or a human, O celestial beauty, I ask you to become my wife." Hearing the king's gentle and sweet words, the maiden, graced with flawless beauty, felt her heart flutter with joy. She recalled the promise she had made to the vasus and prepared to respond to the king. Each of her words resonated with delight in the heart of the listener. The maiden addressed the king. "O king, I am ready to become your wife and follow your commands. However, I have one condition. You must not meddle in my affairs, whether they seem good or bad to you, and you must never speak to me with harshness." The king, completely enchanted by her beauty and elegance, agreed without hesitation. He assured her, "I promise to honor your wishes and not interfere in your actions. I will always speak to you with kindness." The maiden, not yet finished, presented another condition to the king. "O monarch," she said, "I have one more request. You must never question my actions or seek to know my true identity." Shantanu, deeply smitten by the maiden, quickly consented to her request. He vowed, "I will never ask about your actions or your identity. I wholeheartedly accept your conditions." With the king's acceptance of her conditions, the maiden, who was in fact the goddess Ganga in human form, was filled with happiness. She was gratified to have found a partner who respected her autonomy and promised not to meddle in her affairs. This freedom allowed her to live her life fully and without restraint. King Shantanu, on the other hand, was overjoyed by Ganga's willingness to marry him. Her beauty and grace had completely captivated him, and he felt fortunate to have found a wife who he believed would bring him immense joy and fulfillment. He cherished her presence in his life. Ganga, now in human guise, was endowed with numerous virtues. She had taken on this form to accomplish the goals set by the celestial beings. Her beauty was unparalleled, her musical talents enchanting, and her presence brought happiness and love to those around her. Shantanu's devotion to Ganga was absolute. He was so enamored by her that he lost track of time, and days, months, and even years passed without him realizing it. His love for her consumed all his thoughts. Throughout their time together, Ganga gave birth to 8 children. But to Shantanu's dismay, she cast each newborn into the river immediately after birth, claiming it was for their own good. Each child would sink beneath the waters, never to be seen again. Although deeply in love with Ganga, Shantanu was tormented by the loss of his children. He couldn't understand her actions, but remained silent, fearing that any objection might drive her away. In his heart, he grieved deeply for each child lost. However, when the time came for their 8th child, Shantanu couldn't hold back his anguish any longer. With a heart heavy with sorrow, he implored her not to take the life of this child, questioning why she continued to destroy their offspring. In response to Shantanu's heartfelt plea, Ganga finally revealed her true identity. She confessed that she was Ganga, the daughter of Janu, and had taken human form to fulfill a celestial purpose. She explained that the 8 vasus, illustrious celestial beings, were cursed to be born as humans, and that Shantanu was deemed worthy to be their father. Shantanu, deeply curious and seeking understanding, asked Ganga about the curse that resulted in the vasus being born as humans. He inquired about the nature of their transgression and the identity of Apoa, the one who had cursed them. Additionally, he was eager to learn why their son, Gangadatta, was destined to live among humans and what his role in this cosmic drama was. With a longing for clarity, he awaited Ganga's explanation. Ganga, the divine daughter of Janu, began to unravel the story for Shantanu. She clarified that Apoa was actually Vasistha, the esteemed son of the god Varuna, who had taken the form of a sage. Vasistha resided in the serene and splendid environment of Mount Meru, a place of extraordinary beauty, teeming with rich flora and fauna. There, Vasistha, known for his virtue and dedication, engaged in intense ascetic practices, sustaining himself on a diet of sweet roots and water. Ganga went on to narrate the tale of Shurabai, a daughter of Daksha, who had a miraculous cow named Nandini. Nandini was no ordinary cow. She possessed the remarkable ability to fulfill any desire. Vasistha, the son of Varuna, had acquired Nandini for his sacred Homa rites. Nandini lived in Vasistha's hermitage, a place held in high esteem by other sages. She wandered freely in the sacred and delightful woods, fearless and a source of blessings for all who encountered her. Vasus, with dew at their helm, ventured into the sacred forests, accompanied by their wives. In the midst of the serene landscape, filled with lush forests and majestic mountains, they immersed themselves in joy and merriment. During one of their excursions, the wife of Dew, a woman of exquisite beauty, with a slender waist and eyes resembling black pearls, caught sight of Nandini, the celestial cow of abundance. Nandini, radiant in her celestial glory, was a cow like no other. Her large, expressive eyes, full udders, gracefully swaying tail, and exquisite hoofs were just a few of her many auspicious features. But her most remarkable trait was her ability to produce a sweet milk that granted the drinker youth for 10,000 years. Captivated by Nandini's extraordinary qualities, Dew couldn't help but express his admiration for her. He excitedly told his wife about the miraculous properties of Nandini's milk and how it bestowed eternal youth on its consumer. His eyes shone with a longing as he spoke about this miraculous cow. The celestial lady, having first noticed Nandini, approached Dew with a request. She spoke of her dear friend on earth, Jitavati, the daughter of the noble sage Zinira. Jitavati was not only beautiful and youthful, but also virtuous and true. The celestial lady implored Dew to bring Nandini and her calf to earth to benefit Jitavati, explaining that the milk would keep her free from disease and aging. Moved by his wife's request and keen to please her, Dew resolved to fulfill her desire. Along with his brothers, including Prithu, he hatched a plan to steal Nandini, disregarding the fact that she belonged to the esteemed sage Vasistha. In that moment, Dew was blinded by his desire to satisfy his wife's wishes, oblivious to the severe repercussions of their action. When Vasistha returned to his hermitage that evening, he was met with the distressing discovery that Nandini and her calf were missing. With his profound wisdom and divine insight, Vasistha instantly knew that the vasus were responsible for the theft. Furious at this heinous act, Vasistha's anger erupted with a force akin to a wildfire. In his ire, he cursed the vasus, condemning them to be reborn as humans on earth as retribution for their transgression. This curse, once uttered, would trigger a sequence of events destined to alter the course of their lives. Vasus, after realizing the severity of their offense, quickly approached the illustrious Rishi Apoha, better known as Vasistha. Their intent was to appease the angered sage and seek a reprieve from his curse. Despite their earnest efforts, they found Apoha's decision unwavering. The sage, known for his virtue and steadfastness, was not persuaded by their pleas. Addressing the Vasus, Apoha made it clear that his curse was not to be easily undone. He did, however, grant their request for a brief human existence, agreeing that they would be freed from the curse within a year of their birth as humans. But he stipulated that Dev, the principal culprit behind their misdeed, would face a longer life on earth. Apoha decreed that Dev, while living on earth, would lead a childless life. Yet, he would be celebrated for his virtuous nature and his profound understanding of the scriptures. Dev was to be a dutiful son to his father, but would refrain from the joys of marital life. Ganga then revealed to Shantanu that her time with him had reached its conclusion. Her mission was accomplished, and the moment had come for her to leave. She reassured him that their 8th child would not be harmed and would be kept safe. Taking the child with her, Ganga departed. This child, born of Shantanu and Ganga, would be known by 2 names, Ganga and Devavrata. He was destined to surpass his father in every regard. Left alone, King Shantanu was engulfed in a mixture of regret and guilt. He recognized the depth of Ganga's sacrifice and the gravity of his own actions. Mourning the loss of his other children, he now comprehended the full extent of their shared fate. As he returned to his capital, his heart was heavy with both sorrow and amazement. His life had taken an extraordinary turn, and he found himself the father of a child of remarkable destiny and lineage.